is up, guys? It's Jake from Team Insanity. I am bringing you an awesome video today. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different because I had this video in mind for a while. It's just, I'm so damn busy. So I'm finally starting to slowly work it down one by one. So, this is a video for the newer players that we always get messages saying, hey, I need this, or I have this much money, what should I get? Blah blah blah. I want to get into paintball. I want to be like Team Insanity or Ryan Greenspan, the beautiful Ryan Greenspan, something like that. I don't know. So we get a ton of messages. Hey, what should I buy? My list is I have an insert shitty mask here, insert 3,000 cubic inch tank here, insert Proto Primo here, insert die M2 here. Okay, so this video, I'm going to sort of explain to you sort of the ways to buy things, okay? Let me tell you, the first thing to buy is last. Mike Phillips did this video way back before I was even making videos, is that I still agree with everything there, and it's 100% true. If you don't listen to this advice in this video, I mean, that's fine, but you'll regret it a year down the road, and all of a sudden when you have all your stuff finally, you'll be like, damn, I totally should have listened to that weird kid on the internet. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. You'll definitely want, if you don't listen to any of my videos, I don't care, but if you're a new player, or if you're someone that wants to be an intermediate professional player, whatever you want to be, this is the video that you're going to want to listen to if you have very minimum gear, okay? So, say you have a $1,500 budget, and you go out and buy an M2, and you put a shake and shoot hopper on it. There we go, throw this shake and shoot hopper on it, and then you buy a garbage 3,000 cubic inch tank. Okay, so say we're just gonna throw this tank on there. By the way, we're giving this M2 away in the future to one lucky fan, one lucky subscriber. So this is a really light, cool setup, but how much? Oh, and we have a garbage mask. All right, so this is my setup. I have a $1,500 best gun in the world. I have the best gun here, but I got a shitty mask, I got a shitty tank, and I got a shitty tank and shitty hopper. Okay, that's not going to get you anywhere on the field. Sure, you might have an awesome high-end gun, but let me tell you, you're not going to be doing shit all day when you're going out and playing paintball. Okay, the first thing that you're going to want to buy is a good mask. The one reason is that if you can't see, you can't play. Okay, if you can't breathe, definitely can't play. It's the most essential part of paintball. Buy a good buy a $100 mask. Don't cheap out on the mask. If you're going to cheap out on anything, cheap out on everything else, don't cheap out on the mask. It's going to make, even if you're just a weekend warrior, even if you're just a guy that plays once or twice a month, if you play once or twice a month, still get a good mask. You're going to be so much happier. You're going to be able to see, you're going to be able to breathe, it's just going to be so much better, okay? If I have an awesome $80 to $100, $120 mask versus you having something that's, you know, a $10, $15 or a rental mask, and you have the best gun in the world, if you have one of these bad boys, if you have an M2 or something out there, and I have a Tippmann, I'm absolutely going to just rape your asshole, okay? And that's because I can see you. If you can't see, you can't play. If you cannot breathe, you cannot play. You're gonna be comfortable. You're gonna be enjoying your time. Sure, you might be able to go buy anti-fog stuff, but it's a temporary thing for one game. And by the time you buy anti-fog for every other weekend, you might as well just buy a brand new good mask, because you're gonna spend $20 just every month just to get stupid anti-fog. There's no point in getting a bad mask. Now, later, you know, I did a video on the best masks, a whole rundown on it. I did an entire mask show a while back. Go ahead and check out that video. I break down all the masks. I go from, you know, JT, I had a ton of masks laid out, okay? Well, go watch that video. If you're just now starting and you want to look at a good mask, go check out that video, okay? That's the video for you. Start with that video. Go watch that. But okay, so instead, buy a good mask, one of the masks in the videos, V-Force Grills, I-Force, something like that. I mean, you don't even have to have one of the amazing mirrored lenses or anything like that, okay? You don't need the sexy lens. It's awesome. Get it in the future. But you don't need that awesome lens. You don't need that stuff, but you need a good mask. If you have a good mask, you're going to be able to play, okay? So I'm going to make car references in this because, for one, I like cars. Two, majority of the people drive or ride in a car at least, or some type of vehicular device, at least once every day to get to and back, whatever, unless if you're a hobo. I mean, which in this case, I don't know how you're watching the video. Say you're trying to race a dude on the Nürburgring. He's in a Fiat 500 and you can't see out of your windshield. Who's gonna win? A Lamborghini that can go 200 miles per hour, or a Fiat 500 that's gonna tap out at 60 on the back straightaway? Who's gonna win that? The Fiat. It doesn't matter. It's a more well-rounded car. If you can't see out of your windshield, you're not gonna go anywhere. Okay, if you can't breathe inside your car, I mean, I don't know how to make a reference to that, but say, I mean, you can't breathe that well, you're not going to do that well. You're going to get winded, you're going to have a hard time, you're going to try to lift up your mask. It's just a recipe for disaster. Buy a good mask. End of story. Next thing, buy a hopper, okay? This is garbage. I don't care if you have a gun that you can say can shoot 5,000 feet per second. You can't shoot, or 5,000 balls per second. You can't shoot more than 5 balls a second with these stupid shake and shoots. It doesn't matter if you buy the best Proto Primo or whatever. Buy a good hopper. Okay, that's the next part. Don't cheap out on the hoppers, because if you go cheap on a hopper, eventually you're just going to want to buy the best of the line hopper. So again, I made a hopper show. So let's just take this. So after you buy your mask, you're gonna save up your money. You're gonna save up, you're gonna get a good hopper. So save up all your money, get a good electronic hopper. In this case, we're gonna put on the HKTFX. So two of us have it in Team Insanity here. We're gonna have a review here coming up soon. You know, get a used rotor. I mean, don't look away from the used market. Get something, you know, you can still buy used. That don't think about that. I'm 100% pro used. Most of my gear, other than like my soft goods, I have 2 used hopper, and let me think about that. I have like 2 used hoppers, something like that. I have 3 used tanks. I only bought 1 brand new tank. And I mean, most of my gear is used. All my guns are used. I mean, even though this Bob Long VCOM this was never used, or this isn't the VCOM, this is the Onslaught. Even though this Bob Long Onslaught was used once, it was never used once on the field, I still bought this from the original owner. So again, you can always look in the used market for this kind of stuff. Hey, guess what? I also made a video on how to buy used stuff from, you know, BSTs and that kind of stuff. Go check out that video if you want to save some money and buy used, okay? But let me tell you, buying a used HKTFX for $100 is better than buying a new Halo for 80 bucks or whatever they're running for now. Let me tell you, it's so much better. Or even a used Virtue Spy, or even a used original rotor, the first generation rotor. If you get a V3 rotor, you can get those for like 60, 70 bucks now, okay? Go ahead and get one of those. You don't need to buy one of the brand new super duper Halos. But anyways, like I said, upgrade your hopper next. I made a hopper show. Go watch it. The reason why is that if you have the best gun in the world, like I said earlier, you're not going to be able to shoot that, okay? You're going to be chopping paint for one, because you're not going to be feeding anything. Even if you have eyes, you're probably still going to chop a little bit here and there. And I mean, it's so much better to have a hopper that's going to be able to keep up, feed, all that fun stuff. Now at this point, you probably shouldn't have an M2. You don't buy the gun. Pretend that we don't have this gun. But pretend this is a Tippmann, that this is a rental gun. Just keep on throwing so you have a nice mask. You walk out there with the rental gear. Now next thing that you can do, just rent the gun again, but this time now you're going to have a nice hopper that can feed up with all of that. Or that can feed and keep up with how you're going to shoot. So you can shoot as fast as you want. You can max out the Tippmann with your fingers. You're not going to chop paint. You're going to be able to feed. You're going to have a low profile hopper. You're not going to have to sit there and shake it in the woods, anything like that. So you're almost there. Just get a nice hopper because you're going to need it in the long run, okay? You're going to need to buy that in the long run. You can't drive a Lamborghini without tires, okay, without wheels. You can't, okay? So like I said, you can have a Dye M2 with a shake and shoot hopper on it, but if I have a Tippmann with a TFX and a good mask, I'm going to be able to shoot faster than you, most likely, okay? I mean, I have fast trigger fingers, but the pull on Tippmanns are kind of a little bit hard, but still, you're going to be chopping paint and all that fun stuff. I'm going to be able to keep up, put some paint on you. I'm going to have a low profile hopper. I'm not going to have to sit here and shake. If I get that one shot, if I'm snapping out at you, I'm going to be able to put that one ball on you. I'm going to know that there's going to be a ball there, to where sometimes if you pop out with this awesome M2 and you go to pull the trigger, sometimes nothing's going to happen because there's not a ball there. So, good hopper. Buy a good hopper. Next up that you're going to want to buy. Now, I recommend the tank second to last just because 90% of the fields that I go to now have all switched over to compressed air because it's a ton cheaper. So at least all the Lone Wolf fields, basically every field around me in Michigan has changed over to the rental tanks being, you know, steely tanks, which is no big deal. I mean, they're still compressed air tanks, but so you're going to want to save up and you're going to want to get a nice 68 4500 tank. Okay, go watch the tank video I made. I made an in-depth video on tanks, sort of in-depth. I mean, it's going to have a better reg. You don't really need to get into regs with tanks, and I mean, you really don't, unless if you, the only person that's really going to need an SLP regulator is someone like me who shoots a bob long. And the only person who needs a super high pressure reg is someone that has a gun made from like the 1800s. Okay, so you don't worry about your reg that much. You don't need the highest end reg. They're all going to do the same thing. They're going to make sure you get a good output. You're not going to notice the difference if you have an amazing reg on a 3000 cubic inch tank. It doesn't matter. So just buy a nice 68 4500 tank. I recommend Ninja. Ninja's a good brand. This is Pure Energy. Most of my tanks are Ninja. But I do have a dye tank. I do have a Raza blue tank as well. But so you're going to want just a nice tank, okay? Nice 68 4500 tank. So that way you're going to be able to have, you're going to get more shots per fill. It's going to be nice and light. It's going to bring your setup to be nice and light. You're going to be able to hold a lot. You're going to have a decent stock regulator on there. You're going to be able to do work with that tank, all right? Spend a little bit extra. Don't go and buy the Steely tank unless if you're that guy who just plays once every weekend or once every month here and there. Go ahead, get that Steely tank if you're not getting into it. But for the people that say, I want to be an intermediate player, I want to be pro paintball, blah, 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 good luck to you. But the first thing is that you're not going to get anywhere using that steel, 3,000 cubic inch tank that only gets 4 pods in one game, okay? Get a nice 68 4500. I go over it. They're nice, comfortable, all that fun stuff. Just don't cheap out. Don't even think about using CO2. If you use CO2, we're way past that day and age of CO2. Just get away from it. Don't use CO2. It's garbage, just not worth it. And then after you buy a good mask, especially a great mask, after you buy the great mask, you're going to want to buy a great hopper and a great tank. It's not going to happen all overnight. You're going to have to do some chores if you're a younger kid. You're going to have to do some chores. You're going to have to sweep up some dog shit every now and then. You're going to have to go mow some lawns. You're going to have to do that kind of stuff. Have your parents help you out with chores. You're going to have to do all of that. And then buy your gun. Okay, so if you have a Spider Phoenix or something with a god-awful, if you just spend all your money just thinking that you have the great setup, you have a Dangerous Power G3 with a Steely tank and a shake and shoot hopper and a shitty mask, and you spent $500 on it, it's not worth it. You don't have that amazing of a setup. Okay, so that's when you can buy a gun. That is when you start watching the gun reviews that we do. And if you have a budget of $300 or less, then you know what? Do some research on the guns that are $300 or less. There's a lot of them out there, okay? So that is the way to buy buy your gear. Okay, I know Christmas is coming up soon, the holidays are here, so what to ask for? Don't ask for the best brand new Dye M2 or Plain Eclipse CS1 when you don't even own your own mask, okay? You need the basic essentials before you play, okay? You can't drive a Lamborghini if you can't see, if you don't have tires, if you can't breathe in it, I mean, you can't drive a Lamborghini if it doesn't have a motor, okay? You might have a cool Lamborghini here. You know, you might have the best driving car in the world, but you need everything else to go with it first before you can drive it, okay? You have to have a well-rounded setup. It doesn't matter if you have a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or anything like that, but if you don't have shit to go along with it, you're not going to be able to drive it and drive it effectively, okay? So that is the way that you want to buy your gear, okay? Now, again, I can't stress it enough. Just get a good mask and go from there, okay? Just believe me when I say this. I speak from experience. I went out, I bought a good gun first. I mean, good. But I went out, I bought a good gun, I bought a good tank, and I bought a good hopper. Sort of good, but I got a 68-45, which I definitely don't regret. I still have it to this day. And I bought a Halo. Whatever, it lasted me for what I needed. Kind of regret it. You know, I could have spent my money elsewhere, but still, you know. And then I didn't have a mask, so I couldn't see. So, you know, I was getting beat up by rental players. It doesn't matter if my setup could shoot 5,000 balls per second. I couldn't see anything. Okay, so you have to get the essentials down before you buy everything else. Once you have all that, then you can start thinking about guns, okay? If you don't have a mask, if you don't have a tank, and if you don't have a hopper, you shouldn't be worrying about buying a gun yet, unless if your budget is $1,500, then you can go and start looking at, after you budget out a mask, a good tank, and a good hopper, then you can budget out a gun, okay? But before then, don't even think about a gun. Just don't, okay? Believe me, I'm speaking from experience, speaking from lots of experiences from people that I've seen at the field. So that wraps up this video on how to buy your paintball stuff. If you're newer, if you want to become that intermediate player, that guy that plays every single weekend, that is the way that you have to buy your setups. I made this video a while back, but it's been some time. I didn't go in depth. If you guys have any questions with anything with like masks, tanks, hoppers, you know what? I did videos on it. I broke them down. The links are going to be in the descriptions from masks, tanks, or mask, hoppers, and then tanks. If you guys have questions on anything, a buying guide, I have it all spilled out for you already on the internet, okay? So this is how you buy it. All of the other information I've already given to you. If you're looking at buying used gear, you know what? I also made a video on that. I have a video on buying used gear. So believe me, I don't care if you don't take my advice. You'll regret it in the future, and then you'll say, oh, damn, he was right. But you know what? The first thing, I don't care what you do, just buy a mask, all right? So that kind of wraps up and concludes this video. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead. We have an Ask Us Anything segment. It's just a segment where anyone can ask us any questions. You post it in the comments, and you know, we read out. And you know, people from Team Insanity, we go live and read out questions. So anything else, post in the Ask Us Anything question video, or message us on Facebook. All right. So thanks for watching. Hope this clears up some confusion for the people that want to be the most intermediate players. Deuces.